Hi there everybody, Garling with you today with another video tutorial for Lindys Stamp Gang. I've made this layout featuring my granddaughter with a very pale on white, a lovely watercolour effect. So we're obviously using some lovely Lindys sprays and embossing powders, so let's get started. These are the four colours I've used: Pink Ladies Pink, Bonjour Butter, Merci Beaucoup Mint and Luscious Lime. And some nice 49er market stamps, and I'm starting off with just clear gessoing to over my white background, and then I'm going to use my stamps to do some embossing, which will create a resist for the sprays. Get the positioning of that right. Okay, so we'll start that stamping. I'm going to stamp some flowers on the background there, up above, so they're poking out from behind my photos. And I will then emboss that with purely white Lindys embossing powder. By embossing it first before I add the sprays, it creates a resist to the sprays, and it will stand out. So you can see that very faintly up in that corner. I'll just heat set that embossing before moving along. Okay, yep, happy with that. Now I'm going to spritz my background with water because I have clear gessoed it, and I'm going to apply some Pink Ladies Pink Lindys spray. I'm just going to brush that on over the flowers. Oh, what the heck, I'll spray some on, spread it out with water because I want this to be really, really pale. Dab off the excess there, and we'll just dry that off. I just want it super pale. I want to do a really soft water layout, a watercolor layout, I should say. While I'm embossing, I'm going to stamp a whole lot of extra flowers from those 49 and Market stamps. They're a new stamp, by the way, designed by Valerie Olay. Look, it's silly me, I forgot to put paper down. I'm so silly sometimes. Okay, so I've stamped some flowers. I might use this other one as well for a few different shape flowers in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stamp them, heat emboss them, and then again colour them with some Lindys sprays, and then I'm going to fussy cut out and put them all around my layout. The whole idea of this layout is I want it to be really pale against the white background. Okay, add some purely white Lindys embossing powder there. Oh, always make such a mess. I've got a little tray too, and I always forget to use it. Never mind. Okay, I'll heat set those flowers. Fast forward along there. I'm sure you don't want to watch me heat embossing. Okay, now I'm going to use the Pink Lady Pink spray and the Bonjour Butter, and the Merci Beaucoup Mint spray, and I'm just going to very randomly brush some of those two colours on. You don't have to be precise and fussy with this step because you're going to cut them out anyway. And again, you want it to be a little bit messy because you want it to have that watercolour look. So you can see I'm just really just blobbing it on. You don't have to be a wonderful painter or anything, that's for sure. Okay, now I'll dry those off. You could give it another coat if you wanted to intensify the colour, but I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to fussy cut these images out of the flowers, and they'll go all around my layout. I'm not going to bore you with keeping you watching while I'm cutting them out, so I will just fast forward over this step, but you get the idea. I'm just fussy cutting them. Okay, they're all done. And you can see that's a really nice way of tying your colours in and making a very cheap but very effective embellishment for your layout. Now here I'm just sanding around the edges of my photos my gorgeous little granddaughter Mia. Okay, and I'll just tape them together just purely for ease of placement. And I'm going to pop a couple of those little heart doilies behind the photos. Yep, pretty happy with that. So again, I'll tape them together so they don't move, and that just makes placement easier. And now I'll apply some foam tape to the back of the photos just to sit them up and raise them a little bit above the layout to make them the feature. Stick them on there. Great. Now dab of glue, and I can stick that onto the page. Okay. So now I'm using the Bonjour Butter to spray some little white flowers. Oh, that's a pretty shade of yellow. It's so soft and pretty, this colour. I really, really like that. The yellow spray was already yellow, but I just wanted to intensify it. Now, I've accidentally cut a little piece out there. It was just some white die cut leaves, and I sprayed them with Luscious Lime spray just to get the right colour green. And now I'm going to heat emboss my word, chipboard word there, love. And that embossing powder is also Bonjour Butter, so it's a perfect match for the colour of those flowers. Heat emboss that. How nice does that look in that nice pale lemon? Now I've got a few little pieces of chipboard chain here. I think I'll do the same to them. I'll do them in the yellow as well. I mean, I have tweezers and I have an embossing tray. You'd think I would use them, but no, I've got to make it messy, paper, fingers. Oh, well, never mind. You get the idea of what I'm doing. It's quite hard to see this. It's because I'm on a white table, a white background, and I've got probably too much light coming in my window. It's sort of made it a little bit pale. I hope you can pick up the detail. Now what I'm doing here, I'm just using a flower shaping tool, which is like a stylus, and this is not normally the technique I would use to shape them, but they're quite thick once they're embossed, and I had to really put some brute strength into that, so I'm being a bit heavy-handed, but I just want to shape them a tiny bit to take away the flatness, just so that they sit up, curl up a little bit on the edges. As I say, this is not the technique I would apply to normally shape flowers, but because they're so thick, it's the only way I could do it. A couple of little buds there. And now my flowers that I sprayed earlier, because I think it needs that little bit of the lemon just to make a nice contrast. Okay, now I can start sticking everything down. My chipboard here is from Too Crafty Chipboard here in Australia, my favourite chipboard brand. Stick the chain down, and now I can start sticking all those little flowers down that I stamped and fussy cut out. Yeah, they're looking quite nice. A lemon one in there, maybe another lemon one as well. And just keep layering them around the photos so that the photos remain the central focus. I love that word, I love that font, it's very nice. Okay, a nice aqua one there in the Merci Beaucoup mint. Nice stamp, Valerie. Good design. Sorry, I've gone out of focus on the bottom of the, out of view I should say, on the bottom of the screen there. Okay, nearly there, nearly there. No, I don't think I need that other one after all. Now I might add a little green bow, which I also sprayed up in the Luscious Lime. So I've added that in there too, a bit more texture. And now I might add some of that foliage that I sprayed earlier in the Luscious Lime. I like adding foliage to the flowers. I think it makes for better flower clusters, and it adds a nice bit of contrast into the mix as well. Just my personal opinion for what it's worth. These are just die cut leaves out of scraps. Yep, liking that. You can see what I mean about the foliage. The leaves just sort of add to the flowers. And I'm a bit of a flower queen. I struggle to do layouts without them. It is what it is. It's just what I like. Be it right or wrong, we each have our own taste, don't we? Okay, I'm going to add the other word there. I did this one after the camera was off. Instead of just love, I thought I'd put in love you. And I don't know whether you can see it there, but I also did a little tiny bit of background stamping and added some prills as well. You can see there the little bit of pink background stamping. Okay, so I hope you liked my layout today. Got a few pointers along the way perhaps. I've listed all the colours I've used at the end of the video, and they're all available on the Lindys website. That's all from me. Until next time, happy paper crafting. Bye for now.